All right, today we're going to take a journey deep inside our own minds. We're going to explore how you, yes, you, can actually reshape your own brain for a calmer, more resilient life. And it all starts with a really simple question.
Have you ever felt like you're just a passenger in your own mind? Like you're just strapped into the seat, watching the landscape of your own thoughts and feelings fly by, but you have zero control over the steering wheel?
Maybe you get swept up by these anxious thoughts or sudden moods or emotional reactions that just kind of happen to you. It's that super frustrating feeling, right? Of being overwhelmed, pulled along by these internal currents that you definitely did not choose.
But what if you could change all that? What if you could hop out of that passenger seat and step into the role of the architect, consciously designing and building a whole new internal world?
Well, here's the amazing news. You absolutely can. And the best part, the blueprint for how to do it is already built right into the very structure of your brain.
So how is any of this possible? Well, it all comes down to your brain's secret superpower. It's this fundamental principle that makes this whole rewiring process a reality.
And that superpower, it's called neuroplasticity. For a long time, we thought the adult brain was basically fixed, but we now know that's just not true. Your brain is incredibly dynamic. It's constantly adapting, changing, and forming new connections between its cells based on your experiences, your thoughts, and your actions. And there is this simple but really profound rule that governs this whole process. Neurons that fire together, wire together. Think about it like this. It's like forging a path in a dense forest. The first time you walk it, it's tough. But every single time you repeat that same path, every time you think that same thought or do that same action, the trail gets wider, clearer, and easier to travel. The connection gets stronger.
Okay, so if our brain is that changeable, what actually kicks off the process? What's the trigger? Let's get into the science of how this change actually starts. It all boils down to something called suggestion. Now, a suggestion isn't a direct command, like raise your arm. It's more subtle. It's a communication that implies you're going to experience something automatically. Like when a doctor says, this pill will help you feel sleepy. It sets an expectation for a response that feels like it's just happening on its own. So when you accept a suggestion, your brain creates what psychologists call a response expectation. Sounds technical, but it's really simple. It's just the belief, the expectation that something is going to happen automatically. You expect to feel calmer. You expect the pain to go away. You expect to fall asleep.
And this, right here, is the absolute core of it all. Because these expectations are often self-confirming, the simple act of expecting a change to happen helps to actually trigger that very change in your brain and body. This is the powerful principle behind everything from the placebo effect to so many modern therapies.
Okay, so how do we start creating these new expectations on purpose? Let's look at our first set of tools. These are what we call top-down tools, where you use your conscious mind to change how you feel.
One of the best techniques for this is something called cognitive diffusion. The whole idea is to create a little bit of space between you and your thoughts. So instead of being totally fused with them, treating them like they're absolute facts, you learn to step back and just see them for what they are, just temporary mental events, like clouds passing in the sky.
And this little shift is huge.
Look at the difference. When you're fused with a thought, you might think, I am an anxious person. It feels like your identity, a solid fact. But when you defuse, you shift your language to, I am noticing the feeling of anxiety. Can you feel that difference? That tiny bit of space is everything. It gives you the power to choose how you respond instead of just being steamrolled by the emotion.
All right, let's flip the coin. We've talked about using your mind to change your feelings, but sometimes the fastest way to change your mind is to change your body's physical state. These are our bottom-up tools for rewiring your brain.
A classic example here is mindfulness-based therapy. And this isn't just about relaxing or clearing your mind. No, this is active training for your brain. By doing practices like meditation and body awareness exercises, you are literally, physically reshaping the structures in your brain to get better at regulating your emotions and handling stress. And we can actually see this happening. Brain scans show that when people practice mindfulness regularly, the activity in their prefrontal cortex goes up. That's the logical decision-making CEO of your brain. At the same time, activity in the amygdala, the brain's reactive fear center, goes down. You're basically turning up the volume on the part that thinks and turning down the volume on the part that panics.
Another really powerful bottom-up tool is hypnotherapy.
Now, forget all the stage show stuff. Real hypnotherapy uses a state of deep, focused attention to help you create and strengthen new neural pathways. It can help you associate something that used to be scary, like public speaking, with a feeling of calm, effectively overriding those old, unhelpful patterns of fear.
Okay, we've gone over the science, we've looked at the tools, so how do we put it all together when we're actually in a moment of stress or anxiety? Let's build a practical 4-step plan you can use anytime, anywhere.
Here it is, a simple, repeatable process for rewiring an anxious response right when it's happening. The 4 steps are observe, interrupt, activate, and reinforce. Let's quickly break down what each of those really means.
First, you observe. That just means naming what's happening without judging it. That's our cognitive diffusion practice right there. Second, you interrupt the body's physical stress response. A fantastic way to do this is with a physiological sigh. 2 quick inhales through your nose, then 1 long, slow exhale through your mouth. It's like hitting the brakes on anxiety. Third, with that old pattern on pause, you activate a new one by intentionally choosing a different, more helpful thought. And finally, and this is crucial, you reinforce it. Take 10 seconds to feel genuinely good about what you just did. Feel proud. That positive emotion gives your brain a little hit of dopamine, which basically acts like a save button for that brand new neural pathway.
Now remember, this is not a magic wand. Building a new neural pathway is exactly like making a new trail in that forest. It takes consistent effort. But every single time you practice, that new path gets a little clearer, a little wider, and a lot easier to travel. This is a real, science-based skill that you can build over time. You see, you are not just a passenger. You are the architect. You've got the tools, and you have the blueprint. So the only question left is, what new trail are you going to build first?